I code in JavaScript with Google Apps Script, and it's really important that you know what a variable is. A variable is a piece of information that is stored within your code so that you can bring it up and call it up over and over again. In your code, each line is like a brand new day. Like it doesn't remember the previous line unless you remind it of something that you had coded on a previous line. So that's where variables come into play. So when I am using Google Apps Script, my first line of code might be document app.get active document. Now I would need to put that on every single line, document app.get active document, so I can remind the code, I want to do something to the active document. I want to do something to the active document. I want to do something to the active document. Well, I don't want to type that every single line. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a variable. So we're going to use either var for variable, or there's a couple of other ones that you can use that would allow you to put a short name. So I can, instead of putting document app.getActiveDocument, I can just put doc. So I'm in this Google Doc, and I'm going to just name this as my sample doc. And I'm going to go into the extensions menu and choose AppScript. This is where I'm going to be able to code JavaScript. So I'm here in the AppScript IDE. See, it says AppScript. I've named my file variables, and it has a function, the name of the function, a set of parentheses for your parameters, and it has a set of curly braces to trap in your code. So I'm going to put my cursor here on line 2. I'm going to type in VAR. VAR means variable. So I'm going to say VAR doc equals document app dot get active document. And this is a method you can see here from the hint pop down that says get active document parentheses, and then I'm going to put a semicolon. So I want to remember is that if I want to use the document active document on the next line, I'd have to type document app.get active document again. But instead, I'm just going to write doc. And it's going to remember, see how it says local variable right here? It's going to remember that I mean the active document that I called on line 2. Now, let's say instead of calling it doc, I call it chupacabra. Then when I come down here to the next line and I start typing chupacabra, it remembers my variable because that's what a variable does. It stores value into the memory, and it's going to allow me to call up things to do with my active document. So there are 3 ways that you can define your variable. Now I showed you VAR variable. So VAR doc equals document app dot get active document. Now the problem with that is I can later want to reference a different Google Doc, and in my mind I'm like, oh, I use doc for my variable, and I try to use it again and I override the one I already had, and that's a problem. So what you want to do is constantly use const variable, const. Use it in the exact same way, but you say const instead of var, and it doesn't let you override the values. So try using that for all of them. If you get an error when you use const, try using let. Let your variable be this value, and that allows you to redefine a variable within a block, but not within the entire function. And so if that still gives you an error, then use var as your last option for the type of variable. So here I used VAR. I'm going to change that to, I'm just going to change to const. I'm going to do it the same way. And then on the next line, I'm going to do const again. And this time I'm going to do body. And I want to use that variable doc.get body because I want the document body. And it is a method. And then I'm going to run a for loop. So I'm going to say for, and I'm going to use VAR. So that is my variable I. It's a counter. I want to count. VAR I equals 0. So long as I is less than 10. And we're going to increment I. I'm not going to go over how to do a for loop right now, but I am going to need a set of curly braces for this loop of information. And within that loop, I'm going to let name equal Bob plus I, and then I want to body.append paragraph, and I'm going to put the name on there.